We're back, and we're so happy. I am happy to host Reverend Jim Bell, who is the head of Pastoral Ministries here at
No, I'm the pastor of the Village Church.
See, right away, he corrects me.
That's right.
But you're right. You are the pastor, not
of the
like
village,
the
of the
head
Village Church.
But of the Village Church.
Yeah, Reverend Lois Crafts, our manager. So.
Yeah, and usually I have hosted Lois.
Right.
Representing your department or your department.
Right.
Or I'm going to shut up right now. But I'm glad you said this is the first time you've actually come in her stead.
Yeah.
And so you're going to do just what she does. Tell us events that are coming up that affect the community.
Okay.
So.
Well, one is actually coming up today. This afternoon at 1 o'clock. Pastoral Ministries monthly does this an afternoon at the movies. Mm-hmm. And this afternoon at 1 o'clock in the Village Square Theater, they're having the presentation of the movie, The Blind Side. Mm-hmm. The Blind Side is the story of Michael O'Hare, who was the black homeless teenager that was a white family actually became his guardians.
Yeah.
And then he began to realize the real potential that he had, both academically and also in terms of football, particularly. So he goes on to, be a good student, and then to become, of course, a national football player. So that should be an interesting movie this afternoon. It's a good movie about family dynamics and values. Mm-hmm. Then on Thursday at 10 a.m. is the Catholic Penance Service, mm-hmm. and that's at the chapel, and of course that's sponsored by the Catholic community. Mm-hmm. And then on next Wednesday, August the 14th, that is the Catholic Holy Day of Obligations Vigil Mass, and that will take place at 4 p.m. in the chapel. Tuesday, August the 20th at 7 o'clock, the Green Spring Fellowship is sponsoring a movie, Paul, Apostle of Christ, and it will be here in the Village Square Theater. That movie is a biblical drama about the Apostle Paul. Luke goes to visit him in prison in Rome. And of course, Paul had been an early persecutor of the church and had this conversion experience. And that leads him to become really, if you read in the New Testament, the letters to the churches, he becomes a real key player in the way the early church formed and lived out its life. So it should be an excellent movie on Paul.
And what time is that on the 20th?
Oh, I'm sorry, that's at 7 p.m.
In the theater.
In the theater, yeah.
Okay.
So those are the events that I know about that are coming up. There are two at Garden Ridge that I think might be of interest to our wider community. One is on August the 15th at 2:30 at Garden Ridge. It's the biannual memorial service for the residents over there who have died in the last 6 months. Mm-hmm. They do this service twice a year, and this one is August 15th at 2:30. And then a thing that the people at Garden Ridge really look forward to is Garden Ridge goes to the chapel. So residents of Garden Ridge are coming to the chapel on August the 28th at 10:30. And there just will be a full worship service and communion, so that many of them, I know from the standpoint of the Village Church, if you look at our prayer list, it has a large number of people, mm-hmm. most of whom are now at Garden Ridge, but once were very active in the church. Mm-hmm. And so this being able to come back to church mm-hmm. is a really valuable thing to the residents over there.
Sure.
And it's one of the things that for those of us who are still out and active, to join them is great, because it's church again for them, like they would like to still have it,
So you're saying that persons living in independent living are welcome to come?
They absolutely are welcome. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are the events that I have in terms of mm-hmm. the Pastoral Ministries offices. I also want to talk about Pastoral Ministries' role in helping gather backpacks and the school supplies for the children of our employees. We have had so far a really good response from the community here. The program itself is sponsored by BCT and by HR, but we have numerous requests from staff for school supplies and backpacks for their children. And I think what I like about this program is of the collecting the backpacks. It's a great way for us to let those employees with children know that they are valued as staff and their families are valued. It also lets residents be able to express their appreciation and their acknowledgement of the fact that these folks that work with us are, have families to go home and take care of. And so I'm really glad we're doing this. We collect items each Sunday during our 8:30 and 10 o'clock worship service in the chapel. And so far each Sunday we've filled a grocery cart with supplies.
Is there a list?
There is a list.
Needs?
There is a list. They could get the list by calling Pastoral Ministries or by calling me, either one.
Okay.
But this Sunday's the last Sunday for the collection. People can leave it there in the chapel, or Monday take anything down to Pastoral Ministries. But then we'll start putting the backpacks together, and so we need to have everything in so that we can start doing that on Tuesday. But it is I really appreciate the fact that the Green Spring community is doing this, and that the administration has been so gracious about allowing it.
I dare say I was one of, and I think our generation, my generation, I did not have to work when my children were young. In fact, it was somewhat frowned upon, actually. And so one doesn't maybe have a personal experience with the having to work and then go home and take care of a household. With the help of a spouse generally, but I think it's a very good project too.
I more had it as a child because my mother and father both had to work, and of course it was right after the Depression, and they both had to work. And I remember getting into a little fight at school with a girl, and I tore the button off of her coat. And I remember that at that time they sent the little girl's coat home for my mother to take care of the repairs, and it was a good lesson for me about fighting, and also a realization that you just can't destroy things.
Wow. Well, maybe your mother had a little discipline for you at the same time.
I've tried to blank that out.
Well, that's an interesting story, Jim. And you have interesting stories, I know, of having heard you speak before.
I think it just comes from, we Southerners are. I have troubles with my Alexa, and she's not yet caught on to my Southern accent.
Oh, no.
Also, my telephone, I will start sending somebody a text, and I'll look and I'll say, no, I didn't really say that. And then I realize it's my accent.
Yeah, I get emails from people who do these voice things, and it's amazing. Then they have to send a corrected one because now after they've sent it, they read it, and they, oh my gosh, no, the voicemail picked up a whole different word.
Oh, I understand. I understand that.
Well, it's a lovely accent anyway. Okay, so what else you have on that clipboard down there?
I actually, it was just my hand notes about all the stuff I want to tell you about.
Okay. Yeah.
But those are the things that are going on, and of course, we talked a little bit for the program about the fact that we're going to be temporarily moving. Actually, we'll be coming here to the Village Square. Our office will be on this floor. Our offices for all the faith groups and Pastoral Ministries for whatever time it takes for the reworking of our office.
Oh, you're going to move back there?
We're going to move back.
I mean, it doesn't make sense for you to be over here when the chapel's over there. Okay.
No, we're just be here temporarily.
Okay.
And then when the offices are refurbished or repaired, then we'll move back.
Yeah. As I came by the front desk, hurrying over here because I'm invariably on the edge of getting there. I saw a sign posted on the desk at the front desk that said, effective some date, and it was like a broadcast thing, and I'm going, I'll have to read that when I go back because I didn't have time to stop. I wonder if it relates to. Or are you going to be on that hallway down there, like where philanthropy is?
To be honest, I don't know.
You don't know. Okay.
I
Maybe
just know
they're going to put you in the office out here in the studio.
I just know we're going to be on this floor.
Okay.
So, but I have not been that much involved with that part of it.
Well, it's good. You're not wasting any energy on things you can't control.
It's enough getting all my stuff together to move, and it's sort of like when we have to downsize,
Oh, I can't stand it. I mean, that's awful.
I've got all these books and stuff that I'm eventually going to end up taking to a library, throwing away, and it's like, my goodness, because they were so important at one time in your life,
I know. I swore I was never going to buy another hardcover book when I came here, because I only had room for this many.
Right.
I gave box after box to the library. However, I filled up that one space. Now I notice there's this little stack starting.
Yep.
It's like, what am I doing?
Well, when I think of all I've gotten rid of just from the office, and then I picture at home, I've got 2 walls full from floor to ceiling of books, and eventually the day's coming to do the same thing.
Yeah, well, books are important, though.
Yeah.
I do e-reader now. For most of my books.
I do, but I like holding a book.
But I got the Mueller report in copy.
Yeah, I like holding a book.
You do.
And I'm possessive of my books.
Yeah, I think a lot of people. I too feel the same.
If I loan one out, I know who's got it until it comes back.
I keep a card file just like the library does. Do you find them if they don't get it back in time?
No, I'm a generous forgiver about that.
Well, listen now. What kind of books do you have? I'm butting in here to whatever your real purpose of coming here was. But what kind of reading do you do? Is it all technical or spiritual or?
No, as a matter of fact, I take a number of professional magazines that I read, and I try to keep up with current theology because, of course, with the change in language, and we saw that recently with the Pope even talking about the change in the wording of the Lord's Prayer. So I do a lot of reading about theology and philosophy and how it's changed over the years. But then I like to go back to mysteries and Native American literature and things like that.
Okay, good. You're Southern. Where are you from?
I'm from North Carolina.
Oh, North Carolina. Okay, just wondered. Well, listen, I think we've run out of stuff to talk about here. I had this note up here on the top of this thing that says, today, August 6th. In 1945, the Hiroshima bombing occurred and the first use of nuclear weapons in a conflict.
We acknowledged that in the village church Sunday. We had a special service in which we had a peace bell. Yvonne brought one of the big chimes that she has and would ring it, and we'd just let it hum, and there'd be silence, and people just would spend that few moments praying for peace. As we remembered Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
It is something to call to memory. It's not something we celebrate, but we
do need to call to memory.
And of course, we know the circumstances. Any of us who read history at all.
It's one of those things we can't forget because it really has changed. It has changed history, and so it is important to remember that event.
Well, listen, on that sour note, thank you, Jim, for coming today.